Welcome to Suitcase, disc by disc.
I thought you were gonna break out into song there. The Suitcase 2 theme song.
Suitcase 2! Man, I am
Suitcase
off my
2, baby.
baby. Hosted
Welcome to
by,
season 2.
yeah, season 2. So I guess this will probably be airing around the end of October. We're recording this right now on October 7th. I'm Ben.
Oh, I'm Dan. I thought you
Yeah.
were gonna say that this
Oh,
isn't this the like the 15-year anniversary pretty much
15. Yeah.
of Suitcase 2.
A few days ago, I think the fourth or the fifth was the 15-year anniversary of Suitcase 2. So
It was
we
it was so it was so cool when you said that because I realized I had this. It all came flooding back to me what I was up to when it came out. Because I actually, right after I had just graduated college and I
Hmm.
moved to an apartment in Philadelphia, and
Ooh,
that's where I was when Suitcase 2 arrived. And I remember like that apartment and getting it and listening to it. It was just cool. So that it brought that back. So.
hmm.
I knew that was, the dates lined up perfectly. I was like, oh yeah, I was in there, graduated in May, moved down. I was in there in October, and then it came out. So yeah, it's the
Nice.
kind of, yeah, interesting little episode of my post-college life. So yeah.
Yeah, and you see, for the listeners at home, you know how I know that I'm a whole lot younger than Dan over here is I don't have a post-college life yet because I graduate in May. So,
Yeah, you're living it.
yeah,
I envy you in some ways, but in other ways not.
yes. Oh. Trust me, I'm right there with you. Um, especially now. God.
Yeah,
Should we
I
get?
can't imagine.
Yeah. Should we get started?
Let's get started. Yeah.
All right.
So
After
this one kicks off. Oh, go on. Yeah.
So Suitcase One is considered by many, as far as I can tell, to be the fan favorite because it's loaded with hits. Like most of the songs are hits. Disc One itself is basically a greatest hits already. Suitcase
There are a
Two,
lot of great songs.
yeah, Suitcase Two is also very good. Believe me when I say that. Disc One starts with a minute and a half long instrumental of a very slowed down guitar and what sounds like just outside noise.
And breathing and like
Well,
hiss.
yeah, this is the opposite of Suitcase One.
I love
Nothing
it.
on
It's
Suitcase One sounded like this.
it's definitely not the caliber of the Terrible Two, but it's also kind of more like an intro track. So maybe you could think of it as like the opening credits, and then just kind of like the teaser.
Yeah. I noticed something about it because this I think is the most interesting thing about this song.
Okay.
Several years ago, I decided I was going to try out four-track recording, and did
Hmm.
quite a bit of it for about half a year until the four tracks headphone jack decided that only the left channel was important, and that made it.
Oh man.
Every other part of it works fine, except for the headphone jack. The reason it's
Yeah.
important is, as a result, I got a better understanding of how four tracks worked with tape in normal settings. Because recently, I found a bunch of the old tapes that I used and recorded over and whatnot, and ripped them onto my computer. So with a four track, there's four tracks: one, two, three, four. Tracks one and two will record on the left and right sides each on the first side of the tape, and three and four will be backwards on the other side.
Yes. Yep.
Which leads me to believe
Yeah.
okay, I forgot something. Hold on. A lot of four tracks will record at double speed. Double speed? That sounds right. Double speed or half speed? I forget. At double speed. They'll record at double speed for higher fidelity.
Okay. Got it.
With
Right.
that in mind, this ream is two audio tracks, one coming only out of the left, the other out of the right. I ran it through
Yes.
Audacity and sped it up, a full 100%, made it 100% faster. I
Uh huh.
think this was a four-track recording that Bob just found on unmastered on a tape. Because
Yeah.
at double speed, it sounds like a tune. Like it's more of just a little idea than anything, but it's a good idea.
Oh, that's neat. I'll have
Yeah,
to try that. Maybe you can edit that in or something so we can hear it.
yeah. There's another track on one of the later discs that's like this too, so that'll become relevant again.
I bet you're right. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like he's just like popping in a tape, like, oh, what's this? And like you hear
Mhm.
some like ridiculous sludgy unlistenable noise, and he's just like, "Yep, track one."
Track one, which I think you need that warm up because I imagine
Yeah.
a lot of people had a whiplash because track two, Rocket Head, is an 80s
man.
version of all-time Guided by Voices classic, possibly the most beloved post-classic song, Teenage FBI. This is Teenage
Yeah, how
FBI.
crazy.
Except this,
Rocket Head.
except the entire second half is just a jam.
From 1988, it says.
I can believe
And,
that.
It definitely sounds that way. This is one of the few.
It sounds like
modern
Sandbox.
songs- Yeah, it does.
Exactly like Sandbox.
To me, it sounds like. I always thought of it as kind of like it's unfinished. Like what the whole back half is like this jam. I wonder. It sounds to me like maybe there was supposed to be a solo or like.
Or a fade
more
out.
vocal. I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah,
just a
I don't
fade
know.
out.
Or a
That's
fade
what.
out. Yeah.
Like that was my guess.
It rocks, but yeah,
Man, it rocks.
Teenage FBI with the verse, not the chorus.
Yeah, it's the
80s
verse.
style, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think knowing that Teenage FBI is one of GBV's at this point certainly most beloved songs, you can't deny it at this point. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there. You could probably show someone that and it would single-handedly change the way they see GBV. Because it's that realization of this is the same song, but it's not. And then I think, like you could probably throw that song in a playlist like next to Teenage FBI and be like, you want to understand Guided by Voices and the way that Bob thinks and writes songs? Here, there you go.
Yeah. Like this little perfectly awesome discarded hook or catchy bit, you know? And he repurposed into something much
Yeah,
bigger.
there's something to admire in that. I don't know how to say the same for track 3. Woo!
Wait. One more thing on Rocket Head.
Okay.
Do you think it was meant for? I mean, it's like, was it a Wilbur track? Like,
Oh,
I'm just confused 'cause
100%.
It sounds. It's like
The drums sound.
it's a studio recording.
the
It's crisp. It sounds great.
The drums sound exactly like Sandbox. I think it was recorded because it's the fast snare hits sound like because it's a weird way to. It's an odd snare sound, especially in succession like that. I've only ever heard that elsewhere on Adverse Wind, which is the closing track on Sandbox, and it's a song I do not listen to enough.
Interesting.
That it sounds exactly. Yeah, I think that if it wasn't recorded during that Sandbox summer, then it was a little after, a little before. But I think
it's kind of funny because what if it had come out at that time and never became Teenage FBI? Like
the world would be a slightly worse place. Like, make no
I would
mistake,
say so.
Rocket Head is good, but come on,
yeah.
no contest.
Oh,
Anyone could tell you Teenage FBI is better. Anyway, track 3, Golden Pickle, a song that would be completely irrelevant if not for the fact that it is the same group that recorded a little snippet for the end of Sons of Apollo from Half Smash of the Decomposed.
I go free today part.
I
which is
go
cool.
free today. Like, I love that. This.
Yeah. This one doesn't quite have the same charm, but
Well, because they're singing about the golden pickle. I mean, they are
Golden pickle.
They are laughing harder, which is nice.
yeah.
I think what I like the most about this song is that it's not the standard Bob Boombox lo-fi. It's worse.
It is much worse. It
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like the boombox is in another room.
Yeah.
And apparently, so this features Tony Conley on guitar.
Mhm.
Sadly, recently departed Tony Conley.
Shit, you're right. You're right. Rest in
yeah.
peace, Tony
Yeah.
Conley.
So
Of the
rest in
Moping-
peace, Tony, but
Yeah.
he of the Moping Swans, and
He's on Suitcase
he's
too,
kind of-
isn't he? Hold on.
he is.
Yeah,
I think he shows up on a few other places too.
Keep talking. I want to confirm this.
Oh, sure. So Tony was part of Bob's early band Anacrusis, and was also in an early incarnation of GBV, and Tony would talk about those days sometimes on the GBV message board, Disarm the Settlers, and he posted a little something about the ragged enzymes thing. He said I think they were sitting around and maybe there were some mushrooms or something involved, but he grabbed a guitar. He grabbed a guitar and Bob grabbed some lyrics. And he said they recorded like 5 or so snippets of songs, of which this is one. And then we've heard that other one on Half Smiles. So kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. I did confirm he is not on this Suitcase.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll explain why soon.
Okay, excellent.
All right. Track 4.
And this next one's this is a hit.
It's such a hit. Such a hit. I believe, I forget if it's been officially said or if we have to infer that this was another Not My Air Force outtake.
It says that in the liner notes.
It would have killed. Outtake. It's a minute long. It would have killed.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, why didn't it make the cut back in the day? But
because even with the bonus tracks, Air Force is not a long album. I think without the bonus tracks, it's like 32 minutes. Like, obviously, if Bob didn't think this fit on the album, cool. This album came out almost 25 years ago. We can't really do anything about it now. What we can do is complain for hours on end about how it should have been on the album.
Yeah. That's a nice song. It's just a very charming, appropriately enough. Yes.
I may
proposal.
I may propose that the song is quite charming.
I agree.
It also has one of Bob's weirdest fake band names in Hey John Bees. There's no way to say that isn't incredibly awkward.
Hey John Bees. I forgot about that. There's a fake cover art in the Suitcase 2 booklet for that. Just a Bob collage. It's got a guy breathing fire and a guy sneezing.
Oh, nice.
Hey John Bees. Yeah.
If we didn't already have a band named after a Suitcase 2 song, more on that in a bit, I'd want to name our band that, because that's the funniest
thing. This next song is also Not in My Air Force related. It says it's from the Not in My Air Force Brain Fart cassette.
You're right.
Yes. And this one's great. Searing Tonight has this cool melody that Bob sort of reused in a couple other places. Like, sort of. I'm thinking...
this one never quite registered for me. Like, I know there's 2 other Brain Fart songs in here, and I think I like those a lot more than this.
They're all really good. I don't really see how this one could have, like, been fleshed out anymore. It's perfect as is, but... the kind of kind of melody.
Oh, that's what is it? Hound Has the Advantage.
Hound Has the Advantage.
I had to remember which one it was.
Psycho of the Birds, and also isn't Too Much Fun off of Crawling Distance kind of has that same sort of like cadence.
Yeah. What? Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean that's a common rhythm, I guess, but yeah. I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's not. To me, it's not like a remake or like really a recycle, but it's kind of similar. Either way, I like this song. It's kind of it has a very free structure,
Well, there's a lot of Air Force tracks like that.
Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, he was full of inspiration back then. So obviously some stuff couldn't make the cut. So, but it's a cool track. Like that's pure. Like I love Bob just. Carefree demo mode, that's some good stuff. So Searing Tonight is a fun one.
It makes you wonder how the rest of that Brain Fart sounds. I wonder all the time how the rest of it goes.
I do too.
Next is Somewhere Sometime, which I thought had Tony Conley on it because I think this is Anacrusis. The database says Tony wasn't there when they recorded this.
Yeah, the notes actually say that they actually say in the credits Tony Conley was absent. For what it's worth, I do remember he posted about that on the forum one time and said that he thinks he is on it. He said that when there's the guitar solo, he still hears like some rhythm guitar, so he thinks that
there is rhythm guitar in there. But I always figured that was Bob. I don't know why, but
I don't know.
I mean, it mostly
credits Bob. You could be right. It credits Bob with vocal on this, and it says 1978. But it's funny because the common wisdom is that Anacrusis was a metal band, or at least like a hard rock band.
Yeah.
This shows that Yeah, this isn't.
This
It's
is
pretty nice.
it's 60s. It is pure 60s pop, and it's really good at it too.
Really is good. I mean, the melodic sense is right there. You know, it's just pure nice melody and easygoing kind of song.
Yeah, I mean,
No, yeah,
what's not to love about it?
yeah,
I don't have any deep commentary on this one. It's just a nice song.
yeah. It's probably one that Bob thinks is cheesy, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, you liked it enough to put it near the beginning of disc one, so
Yeah.
yeah. Track 7, Milko Wave. We're gonna be seeing that name a lot.
Yeah, so Milko Wave is kind of like the centerpiece band, I would say, of
Yeah.
like like the Ben Zing of Suitcase 2, except
Or
I mean they couldn't.
well,
Milko and Ben Zing are pretty different, but
I think
mean,
it's
just,
more comparable to Jonathan Hyphen Jones, who had 12 tracks on the fourth Suitcase.
That's true.
Yeah,
Thinking that one.
that'll be its own odyssey in 2 months when we
Yeah.
talk about Suitcase 4.
Yeah, but yeah, all the Milko Wave stuff is pretty much new, like brand new when
Yeah.
Suitcase 2 came out.
Yeah.
They're all a lot of it sounds like the same batch of songs that yielded Normal Happiness and like that kind of era.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, I mean, some of them are actually on,
Yeah, well,
on
yeah.
this.
And
Yeah.
I mean, songs from other names just got other names too. So my guess has always been, if Milko Wave and then like there's another band that I think Alvin Hazel's, they sound
Oh,
the
yeah.
same. They sound the same. So I have to believe that they were just recorded in different, little bursts. Because all the Milko Wave songs are really short. Like If You Think It's Easy, track 7 is a minute long.
Oh,
It's
man.
just Bob trying something. And it's funny that a throwaway, minute long little just idea, such a good lick. That's a
It
good
is.
guitar lick.
It really is. It's good. Even the vocal's pretty nice.
Yeah. I would have liked to hear, I guess, Psycho of the Birds do this. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't pick everything. Later discs will touch upon this.
It's almost too melodic for like a Psycho and the Birds song. It almost sounds like it's
But I can hear it.
just too.
But I
Yeah,
can still
I
hear
can
it.
too. It's that vocal sound is very, yeah, that kind of like ghostly tape. Yeah.
If you think it's easy. Like he probably had that one phrase and then just riffed on that for a minute and said, "Okay, next
Yeah.
title."
Yep. So cool.
Yeah.
Cool track.
Track 8 is by Wig Stomper, which became is a little song that Bob sang into a cell phone for the first Takeovers album. I just want to note, by the way, that I'm paying a lot more attention to the band names this time around
Yeah, I like
because
that.
I think they're better
That's
this
good.
time. I think
We
the band names
need
are better.
to. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Also, because they're more prevalent, they tie into each other more. But the song
Yeah.
itself is "His Space Truck Is Strange," which I could have sworn was sung by Mitch Mitchell the first time I heard it, because Bob is putting on such a voice.
Yeah. And this one says it's just Bob and Jim,
What year did it say it
Pollard
was?
brothers. It says 1990 in the
See,
notes here. So.
I don't know about 90. I don't know when it is, because the first is Bob wailing like a fucking maniac on this one. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard him sing on another song. I don't think I've ever heard the guitars be quite as noisy and out there than on this song. I mean, his space truck's not a normal thing. It sounds like space music. It's really good space music. But later in the song, there's like a second guitar that comes in, and it's very clearly somewhere else in the stereo field. Like, I don't want to just keep, questioning every year that is written in the booklet.
I know, right? It's just,
But-
it's like archaeology, you kind of have to dig, and there's some clues, and it's just
But there's
interesting.
no clues here. Like, to me, it sounds like one other song. And that is Second Step Next Language from Work Out. That's what this sounds like to me. But
Oh, interesting. It
It's-
does kind of.
it's more psychedelic and it's in a tighter package. I don't know. I really like Space Truck is Strange.
Yeah.
I can't ask for every song to get a remake, so I won't ask that this one does because it's perfect the way it is.
Amen.
Amen. Let's look at track 9, Tin Can Laughter. I have never seen this phrase used outside of this Suitcase in any
That's
context.
a lie.
It is a lie. That's our band. We have a band. We're called the Tin Can Laughter. We make music like
It's a
every
good
2
name.
years. It is a
It's
good
a
name.
really good name.
Yeah, we gotta make some
Yeah.
music again.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
It's a great song too. This is a
Mhm.
demo from Universal Truths and Cycles, which is like the best
Yeah.
album ever. And this song is great.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's-
I'm a
it-
fan. I'm a big fan.
yeah. It sounds. I don't know if I can say that this is definitely like a 4-track recording or not. I'm with this one. I'm honestly not sure.
I always thought it was a boombox, but
It might be.
yeah, it's definitely. It's not just like an idea demo. It's
Oh,
a more fleshed out
yeah.
demo.
And like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the last minute is instrumental.
Yeah.
This is a song that, based on how much I love the name and have used the name, I wish I remembered the song better, because I remember one part, which is,
The end part.
is it, tear off your superstition,
Yeah.
make us out to lunch. Now that I say that part aloud, it sounds like Bob is singing about record companies.
Singing about what?
Singing about record companies. I don't know why.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
immediate-
like the whining and dining kind of.
Yeah, well, because this would have been right. I like. It probably is Universal Truth's thing, because nothing on Isolation Joe sounded like this, but Universal Truths did have songs like that.
Yeah.
So that would have been right after Bob fucked off from TNT and managed, took the Matador deal.
Mm-hmm.
They might actually still be the only band Matador have signed twice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well,
This
Bob.
is kind of. Oh, go on.
It was nothing.
This is one of those Bob songs where, to me, it's just kind of like a verse and then like a chorus, almost like Goldheart Mountaintop has the same sort of
Yeah,
structure.
but this
I
song
like
is
those
twice as
songs.
long.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
slower. It's a slow burn, but it's nice.
Oh, I know
Nice
what this
one.
is like. This is like On With The Show. There we go. That's what I was looking for. This is like On With The Show. I think it's pretty much the same structure, too. And much like On With The Show, the song probably deserves more recognition than it gets.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, God, we got a mighty stretch coming up.
Here we go.
Okay.
Sacred Space is okay.
It's Office of Hearts.
Look at this. Yes, it's Office of Hearts, which has apparently a long history.
There's
judging
a
by
version-
A number of times it appears
It's
on Suitcase.
It's
a
on
lot.
3 suitcases. There are different versions of
Yeah.
Office of Hearts on 3.
Yeah, and
And none of them are better
it's-
than the original. But this comes close.
Yeah, this one's cool, and it goes back to like early '80s, I would say. So.
Oh,
it's,
wait, Sacred...
been
Oh,
kicking
the
around.
original. The original, yeah.
The core idea of the song, not Sacred Space. This one,
Yeah. This is a lot
Okay.
closer to the album version.
look, we've got some reckoning to do with this one because the lineup is the exact same as Styles We Paid For. on
Yeah,
Suitcase.
that's what I always figured, because it sounds exactly
They're
like...
Terrible 2 and
Oh,
Oblique.
and I think later
So-
on here, there's a song that was also like Sacred Space and another track called Mad Room Assistance were all
Yes.
over bootlegs in the late 90s.
Yeah, and these are Demos on bass and Don Thrasher on drums and
Mhm.
Pollard on guitar. So like, the date on Suitcase 1, those are dated like 89.
Those were
And this one
93
is
on the
dated
first one.
96. Oh,
See-
93. Oh, you're right.
See, I don't know if I could see it being 96, because I find it weird for Bob to be working that fast to rework a song after putting out an album. I still
That's the
think...
exact thing. Why would he be doing Sacred Space after Office of Hearts came out in
Yeah.
95?
And like,
Yeah. So,
like, I don't know. I have a weird relationship with Office of Hearts. It's a great song, but I also think Sacred Space is a great song. But I have to believe
Yeah.
that because Sacred Space is a little more developed, that it came first. That's a line of reasoning that only makes sense when you talk about God About Voices. The more involved the song is, the more likely it is to be an older version.
I agree. I think
It's such a
Sacred Space
weird
came
thing to
first.
say, but yeah, I have to believe that, like, in the order of, this appearing on... Knowing the 4 versions that exist, I think this is number 3, and
Yeah.
it's...
So, to me,
yeah.
all those songs that we're talking about that go together, like Terrible 2 and the Sacred Space, to me, I'm wondering if this is something that came kind of in between, like almost predated Under the Bushes, but around that same era.
Yeah.
Would that even make sense? Like, when would Bob have time to squeeze in, like,
See, I don't
these
know.
sessions with? these dudes, these
That-
other, Demos and Thrasher, who
Yeah.
weren't really on Under the Bushes at
Like,
all.
Don
Yeah.
certainly wasn't in the band. I think Greg did rejoin the band in 1996, but that was after the
Yeah.
album had been recorded.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most of the bass in that album is Toby.
Which album?
Under the Bushes. Like at least if we're going by what Rich said.
I think, yeah, like Greer is on some.
He's on
for
the Power
sure.
of Suck track, but everything else I think
Yeah.
is Toby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sacred Space definitely is a weird spot. It's a great tune.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered something. There's a page in Suitcase 1 booklet. I don't have it handy, so I won't reference it.
Okay.
There's a page of notes, like recording notes, for a bunch of songs under the Bushes era, and Sacred Space is written on there.
Ooh, okay, you'll have to...
A lot. Yeah.
What was it next?
I'll
Like,
have to dig up or scan that or something, but it's got Stingy Queens as reference on there.
oh,
And some other stuff. I'm sure. Yeah, I'll have to dig that up, so I'm not lying. But yeah.
the thought of a Stingy Queens with, like, more fleshed out instrumentation, I can't even
That'd be
fathom that.
mind blowing.
Give it
know.
a bit, because Stingy Queens is also on this
Yes,
list.
it's
So we'll
coming
talk
up.
more about that later. Instead, what we have to talk about next is the best song in this, what I think is the best song in this disc, and that is Soul Flyers. Which
That's
I
awesome.
believe
I think it's the best song.
which
it's
was-
a great song.
it's the last of the Learning to Hunt outtakes to be released.
Oh, okay.
Unless you count the first time it was released on Not in My Air Force. There are a lot of Air Force tracks on this.
Oh, you're
disc.
right, because this is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guitar solo
Yeah,
intro.
because it's
Psychic
because
Pirate.
here's the thing: is Soul Flyers are a great song, but its best part, and the reason it's the best song, is entirely contained in the Psychic Pilots intro, because it's where the chorus starts to morph a little in your heart,
Yep.
and then Steve Wilbur rips
Great
into
solo.
the best slide solo of all time, and it's great. And listening to this, I listened to that, and then I just had to listen to other Not in My Air Force outtake, Gods of Richard, which is just a little instrumental. I don't know if there's much to say about that.
Yeah, what a funny little.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't. I don't know why Bob would really. I don't know. It's a very Bob kind of instrumental because there's not a lot to it. I guess
It's
I don't
one
even know
idea.
what to say about this
But it
song.
was
yeah.
I mean, there's
It's more like attitude than
Yeah.
like a song.
Yeah, we'll get back to Soul Flyers. So this is going to be a song discussion within another song discussion, but I want to get Gods of Richard over with. At the end, the beginning of the noise, the unidentifiable noise that opens Maggie Turns to Flies, it almost sounds like some kind of weird synth. Like it sounds like the stars. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. It pops up at the very end of Gods of Richard, which makes it fit into the working version sequence that included Finks and Learning to Hunt,
Yeah.
and also
Hey, track
two other.
list.
Yeah.
That's another thing that you can see in Suitcase 1. So that's kind of
Uh-huh.
funny. You can see the lyrics and track listing of the original sequence of Not in My Air Force, which included Gods of Richard. I always
sick.
looked at that one. Yeah, so that was cool because I would look at Suitcase 1 and be like, oh, that's cool. There's like this instrumental. I wonder what that is. And then now we got it.
Yeah. Back to Soul Flyers briefly, as to not make this
Mhm.
crossover too difficult for me to deal with in editing later. My thing with Soul Flyers is that every time I listen to it and that end section comes up, my brain decides that the next song, regardless of what song will actually come next, is Psychic Pilot Clocks Out. I cannot separate those songs. At some
Yeah.
point, I had an 8-minute mega mix, which was Soul Flyers into Psychic Pilots into Promise Coming.
Oh, nice.
And I think that on its own would be enough to convince anyone that Robert Pollard is a genius, but that's neither here nor there. We've got It's Only Up to You next. Is this Scott Joy? It is
I
Scott
believe
Joy.
it is.
There's 4 of those on here.
Okay. Sketchoy is almost a little Ben Zing-like.
It's like,
Not quite as fleshed out.
yeah, it's Ben Zing, but I don't want to say it, but it's not as interesting. This doesn't stand up to the Ben Zing tracks.
like, yeah, I'm with you there.
It's a little too
a
nice.
folky song though for what it is.
Oh yeah, I know it's good at that, but I think it's a
You know
little.
what's
It's
cool
not.
about
It's
this
not
song?
fucked up enough.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the fake ending, the fake
Oh,
out
yeah.
of the song.
Because that fake out is what, a minute in?
Yeah, I think yeah, it seems like it's halfway through, and it's long enough for you to think the song has ended, and then it pretty much repeats itself. So
Yeah, and that's great. That's
yeah,
so great.
yeah.
Uh,
Man,
yeah, but I don't know. I just personally don't feel like I have a whole lot to say about this
yeah,
one.
yeah, same.
What's the
This
next
next one's
one?
cool though.
Dancing with the
Dancing with
Answers.
the Answers. This is
Um,
Axe.
this I do believe this is Axe.
Oh man,
Axe
I
is
love Axe.
Axe is okay, but it's like all the most of the Axe songs on Suitcase 2, and I've said in other discussions that the thing that I always remember of Suitcase 2 is that it's full of 80s pop and like 80s band recordings.
Yeah.
And how most of those songs in some form ended up becoming something else. This became two songs that are both way better than this. Like, I don't want to just trash 80s pop, but there's
You're
a
right.
reason these songs are on Suitcase.
Also, there's a reason these songs ended up elsewhere, is because
Yeah.
the core idea.
They're great
is
ideas,
great.
yeah. But like,
What strikes me?
this is Big Boring
Oh,
Wedding.
Yes, yeah. So what strikes me about this one is when it starts, it feels to me like it's the middle of the song, because I'm so used to Big Boring Wedding where the verse of Dancing with the Answers turns into like the triumphant like bridge or coda at the end, you know?
Yeah.
And so in Big Boring Wedding, it builds to that until you finally get to the chandelier, and it's dramatic and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the start of this song. So I feel like it doesn't hit the same way at all.
Yeah.
You know, you recognize that part, but like as the beginning of the song, I'm kind of like, you know.
Yeah, you could tell why Bob moved it around.
Yeah,
he did
but
it-
as the coda, as that like triumphant bridge.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I think Bob noticed something else in the song, because the ending of this song was carried over into the end of another song. The ending of this was carried over into one of my favorite Pollard deep cuts, a song no one talks about for some reason. Trampoline from Self-Inflicted Air
That's-
Nostalgia.
You're right. That's a cool track, and that's the way up.
Yep. Duh. Way up. Oh, I love that. I love it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I just noticed that Steve Wilbur is also credited as lead guitar on the end, on the finale of Dancing with the Answers.
Yeah, well, he's on a bunch of the Axe tracks. Not all of them, but he's on a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Which, would make sense for the time period. Waiting for Your Touch.
Oh,
There's
this is kind of like
a
it's
deep
kind of a
reverb.
creepy one.
There's a deep reverb on this one that really makes that, like, it drives up the sort of unnerving factor of this one.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Just
hear
a
that one
cool-
again.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you
it
can.
sounds-
This is perfect the way it is.
Yeah,
It's reached
it
its
sounds
final
like this
form.
that are why Bob is such like a lo-fi like figurehead, because he can turn, he can do something. He's got like this authority to his voice, and when it's caked in that grimy reverb and
Yeah.
it's just dark and doomy,
And-
you're just
and
like,
all the-
whoa.
And all the
You're
tape
like-
distortion that affects it too, so it's not
Yeah.
too, encompassing.
I just hear stuff like this. I'm like, wow, this guy, like, he knows something. He's seen, I don't know what,
He's
it's
seen
like,
some
like
shit.
Bob is like the shaman.
Except this
Something.
isn't so much shamany as much as it is like a cult leader or a serial killer. Like, he's singing "Waiting
This-
for Your Touch." In
Yeah, this
the
one is creepy. I
Oh
will
yeah.
say, yes,
Yeah.
definitely creepy.
Yeah. Well, like in a good way. I'm not saying Bob is like saying this earnestly. I mean, this is Bob
Right,
Pollard we're
right.
talking about. He sings about fucking Kicker of Elves.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just that's what this type of song is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a dark little ditty.
But not as actually, I was gonna make a joke. It's like it's not as dark as this next one. I can't say that. Next is a 46-second
man.
Milko Wave song.
Soggy Beavers, what a gem! What a gem of a song on
Yeah.
Brown Submarine.
Oh yeah.
And this is just a snippet of it. Well, it's like half the song.
came first,
the
I think.
remake, the Boston Spaceships version doubles it, and this one is just basically a verse idea, chorus idea. Just that's it.
Yeah, that's all.
No real lyrics or anything. Is this a Milko Wave one?
It is. See, my thing with this
okay.
is just because it became another song that had its own little distinct features that this doesn't have. At the end of this, Bob finishes, right, yes, and then it, goes forth. That doesn't happen here. Instead, it are we done talking about Soggy Beaver so I can do a really lazy song?
No, we're not done.
Oh, dang, okay then.
Oh, wait, no, okay, yeah, we're done.
So instead of going into a ripping solo, it goes into an Isolation Drills demo called Invisible Train to Earth.
This song rocks.
I think this rocks.
Yeah, this is a huge song. This is just powerful, full band, Isolation Drills era. This song was floating around for a while before Suitcase 2 because it was
that
on
sounds right.
Like TVT set up a website. You would pop Isolation Drills, your Isolation Drill CD into your computer, and it would like open up a website for you that had the song.
I've seen that. I think I've even read on that website because someone archived it and made it public.
Yeah.
So like this was there. I think Burns Carpenter, Man of Science was there. There were a bunch of.
Tell that at some point you could watch Bob playing Headache Revolution.
You could, which I think that's disc 2, but it's not this disc.
Yeah.
Trust me, we'll have something to say about that one, but we are not there yet. Patience, my dear, patience, our dear listeners, because we have to talk about some other important songs.
But Invisible Train is like, I would say the only thing that would make it not fit on Isolation Drills is maybe lyrically it's not as emotional or like personal as a lot of the songs on Isolation Drills are. I could be wrong. I don't know what it's about, but
it's about an invisible train. It's about an invisible train to Earth. What are you talking about? There, boom, done.
I mean, it's a pretty universal sentiment. I admit.
Yeah.
Great song. I don't know what else to say. I love how it's a very Pollard kind of riff, that heavy riff, but I love how the vocal melody interacts with that when he comes in. Yeah, good.
What's next? Stingy Queens. Oh man.
This is the lost classic, right?
It is, except this master sounds terrible.
So the original version of this song, well, it's the same performance, same recording, but there was a bootlegged version that is unreleased that has a horrible volume spike in the.
But that volume spike is so good. I love that volume spike because
I feel like the only reason this one's compressed all to hell is to get rid of that volume spike. It's got to be, right?
But this just sounds. It's very tinny, whereas the original is that sort of mid-rangey original Power of Sex demo sound that like. Trader Vic and what's it called? Pink Drink had.
Yeah, the other Power of Suck.
Yeah, but it doesn't take away the Stingy Queens. This I said a lot in the first 4 episodes that they need to do this again. This current GTV would knock out the song.
They need to do this one.
They need to. Oh man, I would pay the band. Do this song just to have a version of it.
Oh, why not? You got a song like this in your back pocket. It's just such an epic anthem song. I mean, I can't even imagine how great it would be seeing them play it live when the end part hits. See you what I see.
Yeah, and it's sad. That's what always got me about the song. Even the first time I heard it when I was still fairly new to GBD, and what hit me immediately was this is a really sad song.
It is.
Like, it's not like sad's not the right word. Bleak. This song is bleak.
It is bleak. It makes me picture like post-apocalyptic kind of scenarios, like a scene, just like I don't know. The line, "The new technology hates you." I always
dogs dying and lost kids crying across the entire nation. And hoisted up on silly string, a prize for the Stingy Queen. Wait, shouting back with battered heads, they'd all but given up and said they're no longer ours, so they must be dead. Like, that's bleak. I feel worse thinking about it. It's such a what the hell?
Amazing song.
Yeah.
You know what? So
I'm
so
sad
Power of
now.
There's so much gold on the Power of Suck demos,
Yeah.
and hardly any Power of Suck songs ended up on what the album actually eventually became,
Yeah.
which is Under the Bushes.
Yeah.
I feel like
A bunch of the songs just straight up didn't make it past that point, even.
I feel like the original Power of Suck songs, and Stingy Queens is a great example, maybe just had more of a melancholy tone, maybe were a little longer, whereas the songs he ended up writing when he came back from the European tour, the ones that pretty much make up the bulk of Under the Bushes, are just a little more like boisterous, a little more like free-spirited,
Yeah.
I guess upbeat, or like not as somber. So that kind of, to me, that's the only reason why this song would have just been pushed to the side, because Bob wasn't in that same headspace. Maybe
I don't know if that lineup had the oomph to take on a song like this. Like it's not a hard song, so like Mitch and Toby could have done it, but Kevin's never exactly been known for having a booming drum sound the way, say, Kevin March does, or Jimmy Mack did for a while. Like it's just
but
it's a different.
With the current band, they could do anything, and they could do this one justice.
Yeah, for sure. They did this next song justice, actually. This.
Oh man, well, Bob did.
Yeah. Something for Susan in the Shadows, which is the first live track on here, I do believe.
Yep.
It was a good song that I have a story to tell.
Okay.
If it gets tangenty, please rein me in, please, because it might get tangenty. So, Something for Susan in the Shadows is a good song. It is a good song. But what I will always remember it for is the song that I wedged in between this Suitcase immediately when that riff started. I knew I had to listen to the song next. So, back in the days of late 2016, on the GBD board, this on the Settlers, we were all buzzing about a double album we knew was coming called August by Kate. Yep. And some of the members, I think Vince and Matt, were dropping hints a lot that there were a few Suitcase remakes. So the press cycle started January. They put out Hiking Skin, and I want to say this was either late January or early February. I don't remember when, but they put out a second single called "Dr. Feelgood Falls Off the Ocean," which that title tells you nothing. And I listened to it for the first time in my computer programming class. So this was computer programming 2. I was learning Java, which I never understood and still don't. But I was like, all right, I have a computer here. Let's go listen to the song. And the drum machine starts, and I can instantly tell, all right, this is all Bob. It's really grimy. And then the lead kicked in, and I fell out of my chair. This is not an exaggeration. I fell out of my chair. Because I was like, oh my god, it's Something for Susan! Ah! And it's better! It's a whole lot better! Oh, it just works! See, that's the glory of Bob, is Bob will keep a song in his back pocket for over 30 years, and then exactly when the time is right, he'll pull it back out and he'll fuck it up a lot and change a lot of the lyrics. And throw in lyrics.
So great. Yeah.
Throw in like the most nonsensical lyrics in the world, and it's just the best song ever. Oh, man.
It makes me so happy.
Oh, it's so good. It's like what Rally Boys was on Zeppelin Over China. It's just a song filled with joy. I've realized that we're talking about Something for Susan mostly in the context of a more recent recording of it, but...
Well, you gotta love the early, like mid-'80s Bob melody married to the modern Bob, like lyrical sensibilities, recording experience, and all that. It's just, it's a nice combo. Because, it's almost like the melody is a little too straightforward for Bob's taste these days. It's just a little bit. It's just super, it's so agreeable. You're just gonna like sing along. But then he can take it and just twist it and fuck it up just enough to make it like in his current, in the modern aesthetic. Yeah, like
what I noticed listening to Something for Susan again is that the chorus is longer. There's more. There's I think 4 lines in the chorus, and then the more recent version, Dr. Feelgood, has just 2, which includes the all-time Bob lyric. What was it? Fuck. See, I was gonna hype it up, and now I forgot what the lyric was. It's the last line in the song. What is it? I think it was fuck. I don't remember it. Hold on.
Gotta find this. I'm like singing it in my head.
If you could be anywhere in the world now, Was it if you could have any object inside, you'd grow tired.
Yeah, I love that.
Which I'm gonna briefly apply to GBV. We're hungry people. We wish we could
Yep.
hear everything. Once
We
you
do.
heard everything, what comes next?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of what's great about hot freezes. You know there's stuff you haven't heard. Maybe next week will be the week. Like a lot of these songs were on bootlegs first. That wasn't a real point or anything. I just really like that lyric.
No, that's a good point.
And I think that lyric might be in this too, because if you listen closely, you'll hear
It's
some of
hard
the
to
same
tell.
lines.
I love that the guitar solo from this original is recreated.
Yeah, like
on the new version.
it's not the same. I noticed that it's not the same exact. It's surprisingly more polished, I think, on the August by Tape version as far as what's being played goes. Like here, it's a little shaky here, whereas in the later version, I think what I read was that Bob basically did the whole song himself and just wanted Doug to add a few more layers to the solo.
Yeah, Doug, I think, doubled Bob's guitar on that part.
Which means Bob nailed that solo on the newer version.
Yeah.
No one talks about that enough. Bob's a great guitarist.
Great lead guitars and great rhythm guitars. What the heck?
Yeah.
Love it.
Speaking of Bob playing guitar, there's a whole 4 minutes of Bob playing guitar on Sinister Infrared Halo. I love the name.
Is it 4 minutes long? Wow.
Sinister Infrared Halo is 4 minutes.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I think. I feel like I read something about how this one was made.
It was written over like that kind of field recording, you might say, that Pete Jameson gave to Bob.
I thought it was different. Maybe it's just.
That's a story I remember. I remember seeing that somewhere around.
Alright, I might be making this up. It's very likely I'm making this up. I noticed when we posted the first episode last week to Reddit that people were talking about how much more stuff they were learning. So I'm clarifying now that what I'm about to say might be total horseshit. And you shouldn't listen to it. And I'm sure if we post this to DTS, some like Dex will be like, wrong, here's what really happened. But my memory of it is maybe Bob recorded it with the noise. In like the Rockathon HQ. Like a boombox with 2 mic inputs, or like a tape deck with 2 inputs. One input would be a mic pointed at Bob, because it's another. Bob and his guitar are on the left side only, and the noise is on the right side only. So it would have then been Bob dicking around in what sounds like an open tuning, and only singing for the second half on the left side, and then the right side is Pete Jameson sticking a microphone out the window, which is why he gets a songwriting credit. I remember someone saying on DTS. I was wondering where Pete got all those sounds.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And I think that is more interesting than the song itself, because it's not a bad song, but that noise is distracting.
It's a very atmospheric song. Yeah, it's almost like a dreamscape or like a little bit of a nightmare, but it's a cool one. It's a track that kind of puts you in a certain headspace. Don't know exactly what that is, but it's interesting.
I think, I'd say with better production you could make something more atmospheric out of it, but that's a pipe dream. Next we have a really solid run to end this. We have Happy at the Drag Strip.
This is a deep cut. This is a deep cut even on Suitcase, I feel like. It's just, but it's a cool track.
It's very macabre early 80s Bob. This might have been an 86 track.
Yeah.
Because Man of Dimension of later discs was mentioned, I think, in a newspaper article as being one of their songs. This might have been on that list too.
Yeah. It says 1980 in the booklet here.
I could believe that.
It's got that back in the early 80s when Bob was doing stuff like Acid Ranch, there was a lot more kind of spoken word kind of styled stuff, which is this is kind of in that gray area where it's like he's speaking rhythmically. It really showcases Bob's rhythmic sense, the way he delivers the lines, and it's got a melodic chorus as well.
Lighting ape on fire through the sky, shrine to the child who had to die. Come see the reflection in our eyes. And now
Very nice.
now I can already hear it on like the next G. Now like in my mind it's already a new GBV song.
Yeah.
Come on, like make it a little faster and like do, like keep it, like maybe make it drop D because I think this version is just a lower tuned guitar, but that and drop D would be killer. God, I already hear it.
I want to hear this now.
Man, I could get hung up on that song forever. But there's a few other songs that I have to loudly state that GBV have to re-record. Oddly enough, Arms isn't one of them. Because Arms is perfect the way it is.
Arms is perfect as is, yep.
All of it. All of it is
full
perfect the way it
band,
is.
Self-inflicted aerial nostalgia outtake.
Yeah. It
Credited
has,
to everybody.
which makes sense. It's not the most structured song.
So that makes me think it came out of a jam or something.
Yeah.
But, wow. This could have been on, like, Universal Truths.
I would have said that more about the other self-inflicted take on this disc, but I see where it's sort of voice plantation-y.
It really is, yeah. That drum. This is Bruce Smitty Smith on
Ooh.
drums.
Okay.
Which
He
is
was
maybe why
He was an old Anacrusis member.
Yeah, and we'll get to his.
Yeah.
He's got a Suitcase track somewhere down the
Later.
line, so
He's also credited with,
talk about him.
I believe, additional musical assistance in the self-inflicted liner notes, which also list additional assistance from Kevin and Mitch, who played on the Learning to Hunt outtakes. I have to believe one or two of those outtakes, kept their form on self-inflicted. In fact, it's that mentioned at least that is why I don't believe that Steve Wilbur was on most of the album. Because there are there's a bunch of Learning to Hunt tracks that seem to be acknowledged have had the talents of Kevin and Mitch on them. And considering there's some tracks on, I think, Hardcore UFOs that credit Kevin, Mitch, and Bruce Smith on drums, and I think was it Earful of Wax has Bruce on drums. The best song of all time, by the way.
Oh my god.
Best GBV drum performance, best guitar part, best everything. All of it is perfect.
That is a massive track.
I don't know.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know if Bruce being on it would have kept Arms off the album. I think it was kept off the album because it's weirder than anything on there. It also has, and you'll be noticing this a lot more, very loud glitching.
Oh yeah.
Really loud glitching. That was something
it
up
just
with
adds
the.
to it.
Yeah.
I think the glitches on this track are kind of almost like in rhythm. So.
Yeah, there's the other version of Dusty Bushworms down the line that's kind of like that.
Yeah.
We'll have some really interesting stuff to say about that one later, including a development from this year. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, we gotta take a breather before we talk about this big song. Solid Gold Animal Collection is a nice little tune.
Nice little ditty, yeah. I like how Bob sings this in a funny voice at the beginning.
Yeah. She took her solid gold animal collection.
It's very mocking tone.
To work today. Like it's too goofy to really be on anything Bob was putting out, in the late 80s or really ever.
Yeah.
But for that reason, it's a great Suitcase song.
Oh yeah. Like, obviously a song like, I don't know. I'm just picturing Bob just sitting in his living room for some reason. Like, this doesn't sound like a basement song to me. It sounds like a living room song.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. That's just.
It means there was sunlight. It means there was sunlight pouring in when he recorded this. That's what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I see it.
It's a lark. Very cool.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh. Beach towers.
There was
You're
we had an interaction about beach towers in one of the older episodes that I had to cut. And I had to cut because I think I'd gone on a tangent about beach towers because it opens with the same Nightwalker track that opens Paper Girl. And you had said that the exact moment I started talking about beach towers, you got a text from Cutter that just said beach towers. Which, I mean, that's fair. This song, this song's a little big for Self-Inflicted, but it's in that camp of you'd think they would have done something else with this because this song is massive.
It really is, man.
Do it again, boys!
I would love to have this song on the album.
God.
I feel like
This
you
is
know,
universal truths. God.
Uh,
But I think didn't Mitch co-write this? That makes it harder, doesn't it?
yeah, yep.
Ah,
He's
that's why they
credited on
didn't bring it. That's why they didn't bring it back. Because as we noted, we may have noted earlier that something for Susan in the Shadows. I think that lead part was written by Bob's brother Jimmy, but Jimmy's Bob's brother. They're always in contact. I don't know if Bob talks to Mitch Mitchell anymore, at all, or at all once in the last 6 years. So Beach Towers might be a harder song to pull off in that context.
No, I bet I know why he's credited.
Is it
Because
is it that ripping bass part at the end?
Oh, maybe this is maybe weird speculation, but maybe because the melody is similar to Gale.
No, I don't
You
think
don't
it's
think?
that similar. I mean, Mitch is also credited on "I'm Cold." We don't know what these other people were contributing to these.
That's
songs.
true, yeah.
I mean, this is a more bass-focused GBV song. It's always funny to think about how Mitch Mitchell used to be the bassist of GBV, but that part at the end is gold. Like when it's doing
It
that
is.
minute-long fade out and the song slows down.
Man. I gotta compile all the. Yeah, that is awesome. All this self-inflicted outtakes are great.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch
There was
more.
so
on,
much good stuff.
there's a bunch more on UFOs. That might be a bonus
Right.
episode in 2020.
Yeah, we might have to talk about those.
Yeah, but yeah, this song is massive.
This song did get revisited a bit on Cosmos, the Cosmos
Nude Metropolis, I
LP.
think. Microscopes, but the fuzz just because that.
Yeah,
I misheard the line once, and because I thought he was saying microscopes are fun, but the fun's just begun.
Oh.
Which I think he's saying microscope sub, which makes no sense, but he's not saying are fun, and I thought he said that. And because I thought he said that, I sent it as a recycled bit to the GV database with funky minnows.
Oh, really?
So me mishearing the lyrics is listed on that site now. Yeah. I think it would take a lot of people and potentially crystal meth to make everything on that site perfect, which is impossible. So, and also lethal because meth is bad for you.
Right.
Yeah, so that website will be full of glorious little imperfections, including me screwing something up about this song. But this song is not screwed up at all. This song is incredible. I need to hear this again and again. Except maybe it'll drive me a little nuts and I will end up like Cosmic Clown, which is the last track. It is a somber, late 70s track. Yeah, it's a song it's a sad clown song. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But Doctor, I am Pagliacci. That's what this is. This is that.
This is an Anacrusis, late 70s. I wonder if there was like a full band arrangement or if this was just like what we hear on Suitcase 2 sounds like a demo or like a sketch.
Yeah.
But I remember, I feel like, I could be wrong, but there's some song lists floating around out there of like the Anacrusis repertoire. So
and Tony
I don't remember
probably
if this was part of it or not, but
it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Because because Tony listed a bunch of other tracks that we've never heard. Like there was a song called "Self-Inflicted Aerial Nostalgia."
Oh, you're right. You're right. The one
remember,
I always remember is Polar Bear in the Hot City.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that just now. This doesn't count as a tangent because it's the last song, so we can talk about whatever we want, and I think it's fairly relevant, especially considering what we've already talked about with Tony Conley. He's no longer with us. His other primary Bob project was the Moping Swans, which came out the same year as Suitcase. But what I remember him talking about, and what seems to have been repeated by a few others, is that for a while, Anacrusis were able to get away with sneaking their original songs in by just saying that they were like from up and coming bands. Like they were more obscure tracks, and they'd say, and it's funny because Dayton crowds didn't want to hear new shit, but they clapped the loudest for the stuff that was theirs.
Yeah. Yep.
You have to hope that some of those people knew they were bullshitting, because it's really sad if they all genuinely thought they were just like up and coming tunes. Like that's got to be demoralizing.
Yeah. That's pretty brilliant. Or like maybe they would pass them off as like obscure covers or something.
Yeah, or like we heard a boot where it's like maybe this is Cheap Trick. I don't know. I needed a name. Cheap Trick
Right.
sounded like a
But there's
yeah.
the thing is, the songs were good enough that you would. I'm sure people hearing those were just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is yeah. It's
This
not like
is
some original from a bar band that you don't want to hear.
yeah, no,
It's
this
like
is an REO Speedwagon B-side. I'm sorry, I needed a name. I think if we're gonna do the outro, we're gonna break the hour mark, but I think that's fine.
yeah, that's
Uh,
fine.
um,
So yeah,
this has been
it's
Suitcase 2 Disc 1.
very cool.
Um,
Yeah, I love Suitcase too. I think you're right. I mean, I have heard some people think that it maybe was a step down in quality from Suitcase One, but I definitely don't think so. I mean, it's
there's
loaded
no
with
such thing
hits.
as
I think they all are, but
yeah. I mean, I think there's one suitcase that doesn't measure up to the rest, but it's not this one. I don't know. I feel wrong ranking the suitcases because, like, we were never supposed to hear any of these to begin with.
it's
Why would
there's
you
such
try
a
to rank it
gift.
anyway? Yeah.
Amazing this stuff is
Yeah.
out there. I mean, yeah, it's so good. I mean, if you spend the time and dig into these weird songs that, like, yeah, like you said, no one was really meant to hear the bulk of this material,
Yeah.
and it's so good. I
Yeah.
it's if Bob wasn't Bob, if Bob wasn't like guided by voices, but somebody said, hey, this guy, have I said this already on this podcast?
The idea
I
of
hope
Bob
not.
being like an outsider hero or
I
something.
I feel like I feel like if somebody put out a box set and it was like, yeah, this obscure guy just sat around and wrote these amazing songs that no one ever heard, you have to hear this. I feel like this would be a must own
Yeah.
collection.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah. But like if
for the average music fan.
yeah, like
But
if
yeah.
Bob had stopped after Propeller, like if Bob had truly stopped after Propeller, and somehow like someone important had gotten a hold of these, and asked, hey, can I put these out? Like yeah, I actually could kind of see that. I do have one note before we go.
Yeah.
I just remembered this. So every now and then I'll dig through like old trashy comic books on the internet to look for material to make album covers with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ads in them. Sometimes the ads are good. Other times it's like, wow, how do people put up with all these terrible ads?
Right.
But one of them is an ad for like a blackhead remover, which included the panel at the bottom right of this cover. I'd marry Jim if it wasn't for those filthy blackheads of his. I'll ask Bob to talk to him right away. Of course it'd be Bob and Jim that Bob would put on the cover, but
That's amazing.
I have seen that little frame out in the wild, and I think, wouldn't it be really funny if I did something with this? But like, I already have a cover or part. I mean, I already have a cutout of the original Under the Bushes thing. I can't do that multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I guess
I was
what?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, you were cutting out for a second.
I was just gonna note once again for the listeners at home. I think we're gonna wrap up within the next minute or so. But American Super Dream Wow is a lyric from a song that is not any of these 100 songs, but is rather denied off of From a Compound Eye, which is an album Bob,
Denied?
I think, yeah, denied. I think Bob wanted to release Compound Eye in 2005. It just took him a little longer than he
It did
hoped to
take
find a
longer.
label.
Yeah,
Like,
it was floating around for a while
he
before
wanted,
it
yeah.
came out. But
I think there was supposed to be a
Denied.
Matador. Yeah,
what a killer song.
yeah, but it's not on here, so we're not gonna.
It
talk
is not,
about it.
but in some universe that it is a Suitcase track because I
I don't like
remember
that. I don't like that. It belongs in an album.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a Suitcase. There's a demo, an old demo of it that we haven't heard.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Well, I think the story went that Bob was digging through some old recordings. Like half of From a Compound Eye is Bob bringing back some, reworking some older demos, a few of which we've since heard. And when he was digging through the Denied demo, he heard a lyric, and to him it sounded like American Super Dream Wow. And I think the story went that he knew he obviously didn't say that, because that's a ridiculous thing to say. But he could not figure out what the lyric actually was, so he just went with that. And then that was the name of Compound Eye. Like, the story I've heard is that the album was done for over a year before it came out. So January 2005, maybe even before Electrifying Conclusion, people had the album in their hands. Like I know on DTS,
Yeah.
there's some really old posts a full year before Compound I came out of people talking about how great it was. And then it was it? There's a poster that they're selling on the site now. I think it's like an old poster of Robert Pollard's 2005, and it said releases from like Fading Captain, Rockathon, Scat, and Matador, and it used the old cover for Compound I. So I think Bob wanted to put out Compound I on Matador, but if we're gonna go by Cutter's
Oh.
book, Matador had some odd ideas for what to do with Bob, and Bob just didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
So he went hunting again,
Bob's
and
just not. He's not made for a record label.
yeah, I mean, I understand why he did the solo albums that he did on Merge. We said we weren't going to do a tangent, but it's the end. You're not listening anymore.
Like you said, if it's at the end, it doesn't count as a
It
tangent.
doesn't. It doesn't
It's
count because it's not holding
Yeah.
anything back.
Mhm.
Yeah. Was it? I mean, like the Merge albums are good. But I get why Bob didn't feel like he fit over there. Like, what is it? I think he said at a live show that, or maybe an interview, that every Merge record funds, is done to make back the money that was spent on the last one. So it never did super well. I think what's really funny is knowing that around the time that Bob was doing that, Lou Barlow was also a solo artist signed to Merge because Lou Barlow's solo album Emo came out 2005 and Compound I was 2006. And I know that labels will like to put a few of their acts together on a tour. I imagine they thought for maybe 5 seconds about putting those two on tour together. But we've talked before about why Bob and Lou probably don't like each other or their music, but that is
Yeah.
pure celebrity gossip bullshit that has no place in indie rock. So won't go there. Suitcase 2, Disc 1. Done. We'll see you next week. I gotta end this call.